Hello, everyone! Hello, hello! Welcome one, welcome all! Hello, hello! Welcome one, welcome all! Oh, I don't like that. Oh my god. The stream audio was on. You heard the echoes of Wolf for 1 second there. I'm glad you got to. Hey there, Wolf here. I'm hosting and managing the stream today. Welcome. Don't you love my very professional and amazing stream powers? Oh, I'm gonna mute that event sound noise so we don't have that happen again. There we go. Hello, welcome everyone to chapters 81 and 82 live reading. How are we all doing at home today? How are we all doing? Where are Kyle's? She's in the corner thinking. She gets to be the booth recorder today. How we all doing? Hey Jay Dudley, nice to see you. I'm doing good. It's weird waking up early in the morning on a Saturday again. I had a whole week break and I just got used to not waking up. But here I am, and we're here to entertain and have fun. Let's see here. And 2 decently length chapters today. Very excited for them. I'm actually going to be narrating the first chapter today, which I have not done in a long time. So I'm really excited. But with that said, I guess I can interrupt everyone else and we can get to introductions going. I am here. We are all live. Let us introduce ourselves from top to bottom. You can speak. Welcome. How does it feel to be banished?
I don't want to interrupt.
Hello everyone, I am Al. I am filling in for Reed today, and I am currently in suspension. It's like, I'm in between being in the basement and being out of the basement. It's a weird, it's...
Limbo.
Most people call that the stairs, but I guess limbo's
yeah,
fine too.
Sometimes, yeah.
Are you lying on the
grounded,
stairs?
but not.
Oh yeah, I'm like sliding up and down.
It's the only way to make my mic stand, or to get the mic stand to reach its height perfectly. He has to put it on a stair, a couple pieces up.
Yeah. It's also a great way to itch your back.
It is. Hi everyone, I'm Connor. I'm one of the hosts of the ReZero podcast. I'm your voice of Julius and Rom, officially.
Yeah, officially now.
Oh, yeah. Hello, everyone. I am Carmen, an editor for Studio Reverie, as well as the voice for Melee, Lai, Roy, and your stand-in Volcanica.
Yay! It'd be kind of fun if I had that voice changer, and then I could be Volcanica. I do not. Tail is the cool shit. I'm Kyles. I'm Amelia. That's it today. Thanks for coming.
Wow!
Yay. Hello, I'm Tealdi. I'm stand-in Betty and narrator.
Yay.
And hi there, I'm your host of the stream today. I'm also co-host of the ReZero podcast, believe it or not. And I'm also your Subaru. And I'm also a narrator today. I'm a very special boy today. Whee!
Wow.
Oh, thank you, Chill, for the McDonald's $5 meal. We love the McDonald's.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's not
One-
the right use of
Not
it.
good.
One
That's
isekai
That was
all
a
the
part-timer.
Yeah.
You know, haven't watched the second season of that. Controversial take, maybe, but don't know about the new, don't know about that new art style, man. I'm judging
I
it
want to.
from afar.
It's fine. It's fine.
I want to see the Isekai Quartet episode while they all work at McDonald's.
Great.
Subaru finally has to work in customer service.
You have to
McFlurry?
work a 9 to 5.
Maybe he'll give a bit more respect to the convenience store worker next time.
See, that's
Convenience
actually
store.
him when he's grown and in disguise,
Oh my God,
sending
plot
himself
twist.
back to the real world.
Yo! Oh my God, these are the ReZero theories I am salivating at the mouth for. Okay, this is the stuff that's groundbreaking.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. Just what you should know.
So, thought you ought to know.
just what you ought to know.
Subaru
Collapses
is
the ground.
Flugel who? Nah, Subaru is the convenience store worker.
The convenience store guy that's giving him judging looks at the start of the show.
These two people.
God, he's picking up the Mushoku Tensei manga. Disgusting.
Oh God, he's one of those kind of people, huh?
Mm-hmm.
He.
I refuse to actually read. Only pictures.
Pretty pictures.
I just like the pretty pictures.
I
He's
used to
like
be
the
like
artwork.
that. And then I graduated to light novels.
And now
You're
you're.
gonna say then I graduated to first grade.
That's crazy. That's
Damn.
crazy. I tell you what, though,
I
light novels do be that experience where you're like, wow, why do I really love this and can't start reading this? And then you've read 30 volumes of some series, and it just keeps on happening. It was a problem. I had to stop.
Like an addiction.
A reading addiction.
My
But-
My
strange
strange
addictions.
addiction.
Oh!
Oh!
Hey.
Same brain, same brain. I feel like every stream
Unfortunately.
we have the same brain anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's like we're all contributing one brain cell to like an
Yeah.
active hive mind.
I feel like Stream
No
Reverie.
wonder
is
my
just that.
citrus children cannot find it then.
That would be a problem.
My poor citrus children. I have 2 orange cats, a girl and a boy. and
Oh.
they are very citrusy children.
I was very confused because
No, I would never.
my guilty
refer to the
pleasure
minions like that.
is citrus.
Yeah, you call
so
them
I
a
was
minion.
like, what? Yeah, you have
the-
minions
The
and
citrus
citrus
children
cats.
are the citrus children are the 2 orange cats, and then the voids are the 2 black cats.
Mm,
The void.
that makes sense.
I have 2 black cats, but I would only call one of them a void. The other one is to his fluff makes it not a void. It's hard to explain.
Pluto?
Yeah,
Mm,
Pluto.
Oh,
I've got one
So
void,
fluffy void.
and one citrus.
No, he just doesn't. He's not the right shade of black for a void.
I
oh.
don't have a
Mm.
cat. I have a rat.
But
Who's a
not
dog?
cat.
Oh,
You have a
Okay.
wolf.
In a basement. We are in the basement.
We are the basement.
We
We've
cleaned it
spent
up, it
too
looks
much
great.
time-
Yeah, it looks baller down here.
For all of your
Too much time in the
convenience.
basement.
Yeah, just
Too much time.
imagine it in your brains, like when we narrate stuff to you. It's really nice and cool down here. Just think about it.
Mhm.
Good
I can
carpet.
see it in my mind's eye. You know, I don't actually need to because I'm on the stairs. I'm picturing it in my mind's eye.
He is currently recording on said stairs. I'm watching him try to escape this very moment. He's doing a great
I
job.
can imagine. I can imagine.
Dude, that's why
the
I'm not
dog
narrating any
bed.
chapters today. It's because I'm trying to pull.
He's
It's
trying
actually
to
because you weren't here.
he's trying to pull a fast
no,
one.
no. It was my plan, you see, because I didn't.
You
enter
see?
so that I wouldn't get one, so that I could, try and escape in the time.
Damn. You could just say you don't want
I don't want it.
I don't want
Anyway.
to be in the basement.
it. Well, you're stuck there. That's no choice.
Too late. You're slowly
Yeah, I know, it's
assimilating with the
unfortunate.
walls.
No matter how much you fight, there are some things in life that you just can't beat.
You know,
That's being stuck in the basement.
Okay.
sometimes I think about the fact that it would be a nightmare if we all recorded in the same area once for a stream.
Why did you have to put that anxiety into my brain?
Because
That's
if we ever got a panel that most of us could attend, we would probably do a chapter for people live. And then that would just be a nightmare altogether. But that would be great, nightmares.
but it'd be a fun
be
nightmare.
terrifying.
Yes.
I mean, okay. To be fair, I think like the main issue if we all recorded in the same area would be the fact that we'd all have to mute our mics. Whenever one person
Yeah.
talks.
Yeah.
Oh god.
we all
So,
just
and that wouldn't be an
that
issue
whole-
like if we were at a panel.
No,
Yeah.
you
We're
just
at a
need a
panel.
mixer.
The
You
main
just need a
issue
mixer
would
with
be-
multiple inputs. And it's
Yeah.
fine.
True.
But someone has to be managing that.
Yeah,
We
shot
all
not.
just cycle one mic.
Not it.
It's like a one
If-
mic, we
if
just
you
pass it to
were-
each other.
You don't have to pass it, you have to throw it. There's a big gap between each
Community
one.
mic.
The community mic. Mm,
Ew.
If you were at a
lovely.
panel, the issue would not be that. The issue would be
Yeah.
it would be flubbing and then just like staring at the table, like going like you flub. It's like, oh shit, hold on. I'll say something goofy. Retake that. You do the goofy thing. You start retaking the line. You flub again. Ah, fuck.
See,
Oh,
95% of the
never
time,
mind.
I cover my face or I just like bend away. Too obvious in person.
I could already
Yeah.
imagine the shit-eating grin Kyle's would have with every club.
Okay, as
Y'all
host,
should
I will
start.
refocus us.
Sorry.
We're going too far, too fast.
I'm putting you through the ringer today.
I've noticed. Hello, Mickey Nars, welcome!
Hi, Mickey.
Now, without further ado, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between, Chapter 81, are we all ready?
Yeah.
Yes!
Wonderful.
Indeed.
Okay, I'm the one who actually has to start this now. No pressure. Okay.
Narrator-kun.
Arc 6, Chapter 81. Pleased to meet you. Due to being left alone for umpteen years, the divine dragon Volcanica had met its death of the mind. Speaking tangibly, it had become senile due to being left as it is for a long time. Or thereabouts.
But it'll be a problem for me if you're such an old person. Hey, Volcanica! Jeez, so hopeless!
Amelia knocked its foreleg and called in desperation, but the response she got was the sensation of resilient scales and forgetfulness that seemed even more resilient than the former. A psychological barrier. The examination which brought back the dead from the time they were alive. Reed's case had been quite the challenge, but thinking of it now, that seemed cute compared to this. Though something like calling that fug Reed cute was like a joke in itself.
Reed could be communicated to. And he also taught us that we all need to know, but...
That was not the case with Volcanica. For Amelia, who must conquer the examination of the first floor, the test conductor having gone senile was pretty much the worst scenario. Even though she needed to take back the good news from here to Subaru and the others as soon as possible.
What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? It can't be that I need to be Volcanica like it was with Reed.
For argument's sake, should it be the case that could be expected to make for an extremely arduous examination, but the difference in the content of the first and second floor's examinations made Amelia hold off on that thought. The examination of the third floor, Taigeta, had required solving the set's questions through brain power. Fortunately, Subaru possessed the knowledge from beyond the Great Waterfall, thus they had been able to solve them. But without that, it certainly would have been incredibly onerous. And the examination of the second floor, Electra, as one may know, had Reed Estrella as the obstacle. Amelia had won it by somehow doing her best and banging Reed's head, but even that had the aspect of succeeding because it had been their first time challenging. In any event, it was indubitable that both the third floor and the second floor had been won extremely narrowly. That was why a simple challenge alone was sufficiently difficult. And yet...
Do you think it won't even specify the challenge? Jeez, I already get it! I want you to say something beyond that, you know?
Though she expected it to say something beyond after a certain number of tries, she did not have quite the time to experiment with that. While staving off the feeling of wanting to stomp the floor, Amelia turned her line of sight to her environs. The examination of the 3rd floor had been conducted in a white room, with a black slate where questions would be set. There had been something which Subaru and Julius had been enjoyably invoking with the monolith. Perhaps there may be something similar hidden in this 1st floor. As long as Volcanica could not be addressed to, it was a good plan to search for the problem by oneself.
I've got to do everything I can right now.
Whilst always paying mind to Volcanica's behaviour, Amelia began sprinting in order to survey the 1st floor. Firstly, the 1st floor was the uppermost stratum of the Pleiades watchtower, existing in a position whereby it was too high up to be visible from below. Within its space, in the surroundings were 6 pillars, and 1 mammoth pillar in the centre. Volcanica was crouched by the central pillar, as if leaning on it, and the vastness of the space was around 100 metres in radius. Though the space felt quite vast compared to that of the 2nd floor, part of it was being capped due to the presence of Volcanica's enormous frame.
Seeing below isn't possible?
Grasping one of the pillars and closing the circumference of the 1st floor, Amelia confirmed what was beneath. Inside and outside the tower, Subaru and Ram and everyone else was supposed to be putting up tough battles, but thick clouds blocked her field of vision, rendering her unable to confirm what was below her. Though, on the other hand, it felt like she should jump into the clouds. It would be possible for her to join up with her comrades.
It feels like if one cheats and climbs up from outside like this, they'd be getting a scolding. No, in the first place, there's no way it's possible to get above the clouds so fast, just because I ran at my fullest.
Though she was quite athletic, even Amelia knew how high in altitude the skies and clouds were positioned at. When she was little, she had tried to extend her hand and grab the clouds, but failed. Even when she had grown up, that had not changed. Should she reach around Reinhard's level, perhaps she may be able to jump up to the clouds. But Amelia did not have the ability to do something like that. That was why Amelia must have reached the summit of the tower, because of some mysterious powers.
If that's the case, then the examination must be here or it'll make no sense.
Her thoughts encouraged, Amelia went around seeing the 6 pillars, knocking them, trying to climb on them. However, she could not discover any befitting phenomena or writings whatsoever. If there were to be another possibility, then...
The big pillar in the middle, which Volcanica is close to.
If the surrounding pillars did not have anything, then the central mammoth pillar possessed the greatest possibility. Unlike the other 6, that pillar alone stretched further beyond the 1st floor. Otherwise, above even the 1st floor, the place which should be called the 0th floor was perhaps situated there. It felt that in that place, there may be some means to cause any changes to this place, which remained ever unchanged. However...
Now having reached the top of the tower, step forth through the 1st floor, almighty petitioner.
In order to investigate that pillar, she could not avoid Volcanica, who continued repeating the same words. Though she was ready to take on the examination of the 1st floor, being ready to take on Volcanica was an entirely different subject. Maintaining that nervousness, Amelia distanced herself closer to the central pillar, to Volcanica.
Volcanica! What should I do for the examination?
I am Volcanica. In accordance with the ancient covenant, I ask the will of thee who hath reached the summit.
Volcanica's answer would not change. Rather than being despondent or dejected towards that answer, Amelia instead felt relief. If Volcanica's answer did not change, then, just as when she had touched its foreleg, it must be uninterested in her. Believing that, Amelia went around through the other side from Volcanica's in an attempt to investigate that bulky pillar.
Huh?
The moment she tried to touch the pillar, Amelia heard the sound of wind. Before even confirming its cause, Amelia instinctively produced an ice wall overhead. In an instant, the impact went through the ice wall and slammed into Amelia, throwing her slim figure afar. The impact pierced her chest from the back, and Amelia tumbled down the floor of the first floor, coughing violently. During her movement, she halted her momentum by putting her hand to the floor, managing to arrest her body as it had been blown off somewhere. Thinking just what in the world had happened, Amelia slowly raised her face and noticed the tail of the divine dragon, leaning on the pillar, was slowly being lowered to the ground.
I was hit by the tail?
Upon expressing it in words, it could be noticed that it had been an extremely simple attack. Dragons using their tails to express their emotions was something which often occurred between Patrichet and Subaru as well. When Subaru played any pranks, Ram and Patrichet would slap him as if competing with each other. However, the attack by Volcanica's tail was not of the same kind of expression of love between dragon and man. She had only taken this much damage thanks to her sudden defense, but had Amelia's response been late, her neck would have been fractured. Even her head being blown away would not have been strange. On top of that, for Volcanica, this had been like nothing but merely brushing away an insect in a state of vague consciousness. She felt as if she were a tiny insect, being toyed around by the feet of a gigantic creature. The moment she realised that truth, cold sweat traced Amelia's nape and spine. But at the same time, it also made another possibility emerge before Amelia.
So that pillar has something after all, right? After all, you're here for the purpose of the examination. You've not forgotten that. Even now, when you've forgotten the examination. That's why you're explaining the same thing over and over.
Volcanica appeared as if it had forgotten what it ought to do. But the reason why the Divine Dragon still remained here like this was its will to uphold promises exchanged before its mind had met death. That alone was firm proof. The Sage, the Sword Saint, and the Dragon, each for testing, wisdom, power, and intent. If that was the case...
Half-baked feelings won't do. I'll be doing it seriously as well.
Premising on the existence of the opponent's hindrance, Amelia declared the exercise of her true strength. At that moment, the atmosphere surrounding Amelia slowly let out a note and begun to congeal. As if obeying Amelia like she was queen, warriors of ice were created and summoned. That was Amelia's new potential, born through further growth from ice-brand arts. She had not been able to even test it within the confined watchtower, but should her opponent be in a space so vast, then there was no need for her to be merciful. She had not told Subaru about this, so she had not gotten it named. Thus, she would do the naming.
Ice Soldier San and Ice Brand Arts.
The 7 warriors of ice born forth, having taken humanoid shape, all held their respective weapons and gallantly accompanied Amelia's challenge until the point of their death.
Here I come, Sleepyhead San. If you want to wake up, then make sure you wake up fast.
While speaking so, Amelia, wielding arms of ice, approached Volcanica, along with the warriors of ice. Whilst lording over that, with eyes ignorant to emotion, Volcanica opened its mouth.
Who have reached the top of the tower? Step forth to the first floor, almighty petitioner.
With its consciousness buried beyond the ever-unchanging infinity. During the same time, Amelia was not the only one facing a mighty enemy, transcending one's own strength. One floor below Amelia, who was fighting the demented Divine Dragon, the collisions of swordsmen being performed in the second floor Electra, also grew in vehement. But a one-sided truth remained unwavering.
Come on. What happened? What happened? I'm just having to use one chopstick with one hand, you know? If you still ain't reaching me, you prick, then this just ain't gonna even make for playing around, man. Oh, you prick.
Whilst pouring hearty jeers, the man making his long red hair sway about fired an intense kick. Receiving that with the handle of the knight's sword in his hand, the knight with a refined profile jumped far back by his own volition. He could not stifle the impact. He had merely scattered it, and before it could dissolve, the next one arrived. Many a time, the repetition of that exchange was conducted on the battlefield of the second floor. And though this had occurred many times as well, the knight was blown away by the swordsman's strike, and he retreated far back. The swordsman spat out a, "Jeez, damn it!"
If your mood changes, then your sword does too. I've got expectations on you with these explosions, you know? Still, how many goddamn times will it take for you to change? You prick. Or instead...
Whilst saying that, the red-haired swordsman, Reed, wrung his neck and distorted his lips, with a magnificent posture of mockery, as if looking down onto his opponent. The swordsman with expectation scowled at the knight who was his opponent.
Are you planning on losing by fussing over your manners, you prick? Are you gonna be satisfied with that, you prick?
What a self-indulgent thing to say.
In response to Reed's objection, the knight, who was being told anything per convenience, loosened his lips. Whilst confirming his knight's sword, numbed by the kick, the knight accepted Reed's sharp gaze and stood up, directly opposite to him. Julius Jaculius, who had been relinquished being a nameless knight, and was resolved to battle destiny.
Many a time you have thrown such words at me. Unappealing battling, unmannered sword moves, lackluster amusement. They are words even I am familiar with.
Figures. Even if it ain't to my extent, pretty sure anyone would feel that by taking a look. There ain't anything in that sword but desperation.
Desperation, huh?
Reed's careless remarks surely must not have been brought forth by noble beliefs. He was likely stating what he thought as is. The reason why it grasped reality, with one of his eyes purposely concealed, was because everything was visible in plain sight to that blue pupil. He could likely see Julius's shallow ideals concealed above his true character. Upon glancing behind, the form of a female watching over the fight between Julius and Reed could be seen. For Julius, it was the guise of the woman whom he currently esteemed the most in the world. However, the woman's substance had been changed to that of a different person. Inevitability aside, it had been approximately 2 months since the events that had occurred in the Watergate city. They had managed to resume quite an empty lord and retainer relationship.
Now that I think of it, both you and I should have conversed further with open hearts.
Julius?
Had that been done, I'm sure I would have become good friends with you. Because we shared our cherishing and admiration for the same woman.
Letting his heart out, Julius challenged the Sword Saint once again. Reed was wielding a short, slim chopstick in his right arm, and assaulted the advancing Julius head-on, slashing through, clearing away, holding aloft, swinging down, striking in. At times, Julius tackled, whilst weaving together reality and myth through the grip of his sword or his footwork, whilst Reed defended against with ease and striking a lack of seriousness.
This again. How many times do I gotta tell you this ain't gonna work?
Even so, if you were to call it dull, this is still my sword.
Here you go.
Repudiating the rising yawn with a roar, Julius fired a sword slash which was met by Reed's kick. His stance destroyed by that kick, Julius showed an opening to which Reed's chopstick strike attained a diagonal posture. That instant, Julius overturned the mantle he was wearing and instantly hid his body afterwards. Reed smiled at that move and slashed both the mantle and Julius, who was on the other side. However, the moment the mantle was blown off by the power of the chopstick strike, Julius jumped right behind and to the side, escaping the range of slaughter of the chopstick.
Hey! Now that's more like it.
No, you were wrong.
Huh?
Reed praised the battling style of using the white outfit as a distraction, throwing off the righteous path. However, Julius immediately slayed that praise and ran up to the mantle that had gotten blown off. And, picking up the mantle that had been torn by the chopstick strike, he put it on his body once again, carefully fastening its latch, putting the white mantle in his white uniform. He personified knighthood. Even if he had given up on being nameless, he could not give up on being a knight. Witnessing Julius's attitude, as if denoting that message, Reed once again clicked his tongue in displeasure.
You prick. When the smoking hottie earlier and the hottie standing behind you showed up, I expected you to change, you know? That you'd aim for victory without caring about appearances? That I gotta get to see that you, eh? You prick, aren't you clueless about yourself? You act like you're sitting straight and your tear ain't that. Your team's the same as me. I'm a stick swinger. So stiff that I can't stand looking at you, you goddamn prick.
Whilst pointing his chopstick towards Julius, Reed spat out with a bitter expression. Hearing Reed's comment, Julius closed his eyes, and, keeping his eyes shut for some time, he whispered, "Is that so?" once.
I feel like I finally understand.
What'd you understand?
About why you are so persistent and obstinate about me.
Despite being irritated, Reed never seized his words for Julius. His way was violent, and said person surely had no such intent whatsoever. But it was akin to that of a precursor, teaching, guiding Julius. Finally, he now comprehended the reason behind why Reed had pulled Julius around this much.
Did you see something in me, which was the same as yourself?
The reason why he had, on multiple occasions, sneered at Julius, calling his battling style boring and his sword moves mannered, was because he believed there was a slumbering lion within the shell Julius put on. Though Julius thought to believe that was a lion was an excessively positive estimation.
I ain't got any idea about the finer stuff, you damn immature fool. I just do stuff however I want to do it. My instincts are telling me that you'd be more interested with your veneer taken off. That's why I'm trying to peel it off. You get it too, right? At this rate, you ain't no reaching me, and you'll get to look cool before the hottie standing next to you or behind you. Eh?
As Reed turned his chin up and pointed Echidna out, Julius smiled bitterly. Thinking that truly, Reed's eyes were something else. They were observing well. They had perceived well that Julius Jaculius was a man of merely affixing appearances.
That is precisely why I will not depart from the fact that I am myself.
The hell just say?
Your words are surely correct. Many things come to mind, though I never spoke about it in a world where everyone had forgotten me. I am not a legitimate child of the Juculius family.
He commenced speaking, ensuring Reed, possessing a frown, and Echidna, who was firmly observing what was in front, could hear him. The unremembered history of Julius Juculius, which now nobody remembered but Natsuki Subaru.
My father, who absconded from a noble household, married my mother, who was a commoner, and I was born between the two of them. That is why my origin is that of a commoner. My parents passed away, and until I was adopted by my current adoptive father, my uncle, I had nothing to do with the refinement of nobles. Thus, my way is one that is fabricated.
What a damn ugly what a damn ugly paper tiger.
That may be true. My true essence must be clad in civilian clothes instead of ceremonial ones. It must be the rustic child, unaware of ideals from the time when I used to run about in open meadows, laughing with my friends.
Ignorant of propriety, possessing no ideals to strive for, earnest in living, day after day. Precisely that way of being himself was the future that had been bonded to Julius. However, that future was washed away, along with his real parents, by a flash flood, disappearing into the beyond. That was precisely why.
That is why I shall feign the night. Being fixated over appearances, I shall confine my original self.
You prick.
My innocent, ignorant self was, however, met by ideals. I admired the knight, admired the form of the knight, possessing gallantry and integrity. Hence, I shall go through with my admiration.
Fastening the latch of his mantle with a note of strength, it was poured into Julius's yellow gaze. Reed was in displeasure. His expression changed from one of irritation to dubiousness. That was his astonishment for his words being denied, yet not being snarled back at. The man, like a painting of defiance, had his awareness eroded by Julius's words. Henceforth, Julius presumed, with a grand voice,
I am a gauche man. I perceive everything based on appearances. Until now, I believed if I wielded a splendid sword, if I wear dignifying clothing, if I use courteous words, I would become befitting of them. Thus, I shall stick through with that obstinacy.
He was aware that there existed humans who despised words such as appearances. Natsuki Subaru, whom he immediately thought of, was he not the epitome of that? However, Julius also thought of something inverse.
Correcting my posture. Completing personal grooming. Dressing up as the form wishing to be equipped with that. Holding the will to persist through. That is precisely the paper tiger I am determined to wear for eternity. I'm sure there are those who mock appearances. However, I trust there are just as many who find appearances to be dazzling. Just as how I continued to yearn for the way of the night.
He could not remember who it was that made his admiration for the Nightbud. However, Julius had become a knight. The reason why Julius was called the finest was not simply due to diligently studied sword moves, refined spiritual arts, or the heights of his ability backed by those factors. It was because the way of Julius Juculius had been thought of as the way of the knight. The reason why it had been the way of the utmost excellent knight was because his form, putting up appearances, had been perceived as dazzling. Making that declaration, Julius loosened his lips and turned towards Echidna. Julius slightly shook his head sideways towards her, who had borrowed the form liable to his utmost respect and affection. Towards her, who was regretting from the deepest depths of her heart that she did not remember Julius. In order to convey that, there was no need to harbour such guilt.
There was no need whatsoever for me to fear, console, lament being forgotten, because the existence known as myself is present precisely within the chivalry which everyone knows, which everyone yearns for.
And he could say the same for those girls who were with him in this place.
I apologize for everything until now, O buds of mine. Clinging to a lost bond, without parting ways with you all, I've always made you anxious. I shall free you from that burden, this instant.
Allured by Julius's whisper, what had become visible were fleeting lights of vivid hues. They were beautiful spirits, asserting 6 elements. Julius Jaculius's quasi-spirits. They were existences difficult to be distant from, having remained close to Julius Jaculius from a point prior to him becoming a knight. They, too, had forgotten Julius, who had gotten his name plundered by the authority of gluttony. However, due to the indelible contract formed between the spirits and the contractor, along with the divine protection of gathering spirits, which Julius had been born with, they were captivated by the power, and continued to remain within his vicinity. Julius, too, believing that their relationship would return, should his name return, did not let go of them. How foolish that had been! You must have not wanted for what remained to change as well. After anything and everything had undergone change. However,
You did well staying with my prior self until now, O buds. I depended on your love, and stubbornly remained without letting go of your warmth. I kept expecting to possibly return to those days with no problems whatsoever. I shall relinquish that weak, pathetic, uncool self of mine.
as if bewildered, the 6 quasi-spirits swayed, whilst enclosing Julius's environs. Facing them, Julius firmly presented his hand, the arm extended like a perch. Upon seeing it, the quasi-spirits gently gathered there. And Julius smiled towards the fleeting lights, halted atop his hand.
There existed a self of mine which feared change. However, upon having not the resolve to lose, there also exist things that cannot be gained. For example, the blooming of the buds named love. A future where I confirm with my own eyes what flowers will the buds who remain by my side blossom into.
They did not answer. However, it appeared they knew well what was going to occur hereafter. Hence, Julius moved, abiding by that flow.
O buds of mine, I liberate you all. I apologize for clinging to a fragmented bond for far too long.
With those words, the quasi-spirits which had encircled Julius's hands took distance, as if flicked away. That which appeared to even possess a physical impact pierced through Julius and the quasi-spirits alone with certainty. A sensation, scathing like a flash of lightning. The connection, the bond which existed for certain, the contract binding soul to soul, was severed. That was the pain and grief of having forfeited an existence indeed bound to the soul, which only a spiritual arts user could comprehend. Though Julius would not know, this same pain had once even Amelia moved to tears and cower. By his own volition, Julius experienced parting ways with his 6 spirits once, and a wound was born in his heart. The sensation akin to distortion rent his mind and heart, and Julius tasted the detachment of his soul. This was a pain different from when he had been forgotten by his buds, due to the authority of gluttony, from its very origin. Not Julius alone, but the quasi-spirits must have also experienced the pain. Ergo, he repented. They might have sustained a wound on their soul, conveying that they should not have made a contract with a human. However...
Furthermore, now once, I call for you all. I love you all. If you shall accept the courting of this vain man, then let us bind it. A new contract between myself and all of you.
With a loud voice, Julius hollered, with a hand raised towards the heavens, which he had lowered once. Hearing that call, the quasi-spirits which had dispersed, as if repelled, quietly flickered. Familiar moment. Faltering and indecision. Those matters had been of naught but a moment. Warm luminescence enveloped the entire body of Julius Jaculius, gently permeating into the wound engraved on his soul, due to severing the contract. There had been glee. There had been rage. There had been grief. There had been love. There had been hate. These multitude of emotions had been there, in the time, greater than 10 years, that Julius and those girls had spent together. Repudiating it, for once, they spun a future anew. Whether that was the correct answer, he did not know. However, he thought he wanted it to be the correct answer. He may make mistakes countless times, continuing and failing to choose the correct path. He may err. However, he would shape himself through that journey. Even if he were to err, he was not alone. He was not by himself. Should he decide to move forward, then there existed ideals, moulded by splendid predecessors. Should he halt his feet, then there existed the warmth of his buds, who would continue to watch over him with deep affection. And should he look beside him, there existed the side profile of his lord, vowing to dedicate beliefs that shaped oneself. Just what did Julius Jaculius have to fear in the future?
That must be true. Oh, beautifully blooming maidens of mine.
Responding to that cry, the 6 buds? No, the blooming maidens gave their answer. A light was born.
From hereafter as well, profoundly, gently, whilst being hurt, I shall walk this path.
The pain of the contract severing was healed by the bond tied together, once again. Clad in 6, exceedingly ever-mysterious lights, Julius Jaculius looked forward. There present was the form of the pinnacle, as the one who had dedicated his body to the sword, whom he admired. However, Julius Jaculius's jealousy was directed someplace different. Hence, he would slash through that longing and aspiration without faltering, through the lights of a rainbow.
Thank you for waiting, Sword Saint Rita Strea. Pleased to meet you.
Shaking his knight's sword, Julius grasped his mantle and bowed with elegance, and lifting his face, completely taking shape of that which he admired most in the world, he named himself.
I am the finest of knights, Julius Jaculius, the sword of the kingdom that shall slash you down.
And that's the chapter!
Oh,
Yay!
God, I love that one so much.
It's so fucking cool.
Oh, I love Julius's arc in this arc so fucking much. I'm so glad I got to the rate this chapter.
Thank you. Oh god, this is one of the chapters that made me want to play Julius in the first place.
Pachi Pachi!
Thank you, Jay
Thank you,
Dudley.
Dudley.
Julius does deserve a rainbow slushie. He does.
Hell yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Captain Ash. This was really, really fun to narrate. I love doing narration so much. It's a I don't get to do it often just because I play Subaru so much because obviously fucking main character, duh. But
Give it an arc.
let me whenever you need me, tag
Or
me in,
three.
coach. I'm ready.
Or 3.
Yeah. Hi, Linda. Welcome in. And Ash is one of our new editors, so welcome in. And Linda is one of our new VAs for Arc 7. So
Thank you all.
Thank you.
welcome in, guys. And thank you all for listening.
What did we think of the chapter, guys? Like, it's really interesting. It's just so
Pretty mid.
good, isn't it? Oh, shut the fuck up, Julius.
You had your time. Shut it.
I think it's really interesting that Julius isn't like he's not denying Subaru or Reed's criticisms of him. He does know that what he's doing is like an appearance, something he's putting on for himself. But it's not exactly the wrong thing for him to do. Like he's just trying to be someone he could admire, right? And I think
No, like that's how you become someone.
When
Like
you-
the phrase
yeah.
"fake it till you make it"
It's
is
true.
not like a joke. It's
Yeah.
it's a real thing that people do.
Yes.
to become oneself.
Do it all the
It's
time.
it's why Julius is humble while Reinhardt is modest. It's that
Yes.
Julius recognizes his own faults but can see the path that he's on and what he's trying to achieve.
Whereas Reinhard isn't a humble person. He's kind of lacing things with kind of like false modesty to bring himself down to other people's levels.
Mhm.
Because he's just so distant from everyone else. I truly do think it's a combination of him trying to be the Sword Saint and him wishing to be on the level of other people.
Yeah, but like with what Julius is doing here, like regardless of whether the person that you admire and are striving to be is real, because he's acknowledging that the first Sword Saint that I've kind of always strived to
Is
match
a
up to
sexual harassing
is a
asshole.
monster.
Yeah.
He's like a total brutal beast.
Trash!
That doesn't have to change that I'm still trying to aspire to the ideas that I've always
that
thought
were
him
presented.
of.
Yeah, exactly. The ideas of this great knight who stood against fate and stood against all the cruelty of the world to maintain chivalry. That idea doesn't have to disappear just because his heroes have died, right?
Which is why he's able to then, like, coming to terms with that, as well as realizing it's going to be a long, hard road, but and it's gotten harder because I've lost my name, but my destination hasn't changed. So I need to do whatever I can to still walk the path.
Exactly.
And that includes risking losing all of his spirits. Like, they didn't have to come back to him. It wasn't a guarantee that it was going to happen.
Yeah, that was a gamble.
But they love him.
They do. It's why next time I need to do a Julius cosplay, I have to get the little Christmas
little
lights
buds.
put
Yeah.
into the sleeve.
Yeah.
Not the Christmas lights.
I remember how
No, yeah,
sad you were when they didn't work out.
I know. I'll get them working for next year for sure. I have to go along with the new one.
But yeah, Julius's arc is so good, and it's so. I just love how much of you could just feel the impact Subaru as a friend has on Julius specifically. Like, Julius has so many friends. Like, he is a well-liked person that gets along well with his colleagues, and he's friends with Felix, he's friends with Reinhard, he's friends with all these people. But his friendship with Subaru is something you can tell he deeply cherishes, and I think was why when Subaru lost his memories, it was so devastating to Julius, because it wasn't just the last person who remembers me is gone. It's the person who keeps me, Julius Jaculius, in check is gone.
Yeah.
Because
And
just
as soon as he loses that, he like lashes out at everyone. He's like upset about all of it. He doesn't
isolated,
see himself as worth it anymore.
which is why what changes these events is Anastasia giving him that message.
It is, and I've been kind of getting this vibe as well. Does it feel like Echidna has feelings for Julius, like the
Kinda.
Scarfdonna one?
I
A
got
little
that
bit.
too.
A little bit,
I
yeah.
was getting it too, yeah.
I did.
I'm
pick that
not
up the first
playing
time
into it.
through.
I'm reading it.
Well, no. But like, this was something I was thinking when I was reading it initially too, where she at
Yeah.
least has some sort
Yeah.
of like interest.
I
in
see
him.
what Anastasia saw in him.
Yeah.
Kind
And
of
especially
thought-
after the past couple chapters when she was like, "Who the fuck are you, lady carrying me?"
Yeah.
It seemed like she had feelings for Amelia and Julius at the same time, which is why I kind of played into that a little.
I think this is just one thing that's a layover from Echidna, the Witch of Greed, to Echidna the Spirit, where it's not exactly love in like the romantic sense, it's love in the fascination sense.
Interest,
Yeah.
Yeah, like you are very interesting. I would like to learn a lot from you.
Oh no, Captain Ash makes actually a really good point. Scarfdonna is a spirit.
Oh my god, you're
Just
right.
like-
yeah.
just like
Oh
Beatrice.
yeah.
It was sitting in front of us the entire time.
Doesn't Betty also get like totally kind of tongue-tied around Julius?
Yeah, she says something like
doesn't
it's
like
I don't want to cheat on Subaru.
Julia.
in
Yeah,
fact.
Subaru is like the still #1 for me, even if you do make Betty's heart flutter.
Yeah.
It's so funny. But yeah,
I wonder if it may have been Scarfdonna originally that then kind of pulled Julius and Anastasia together before he even knew about it.
I would imagine that
Maybe.
might be the case. Yeah. I think it
And
would
this,
it would be a thing of two of like Anastasia would ask Echidna like what is the measure you get if this guy, and Echidna's like, well, this is like the coolest guy I've ever met, so bring him on.
Gotta get in there, figure out what his deal is.
Yeah, I think they were pulled together because of their hair color.
Yeah.
That's part of it. The color palettes do have to go together. It's why Subaru stands out so much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
except
Anastasia
next
went,
to,
oh, he has the same hair color as me, the same rare hair color. Ooh, okay, I'm gonna
Perfect.
make him my knight. Yeah, perfect. This just works out.
I think this chapter also gave probably the most explanation on why he's with Anastasia. That they're both this coming up from nothing commoners that
Yeah.
have been brought into this noble lineage through
Mhm.
merit rather than any like just I was born lucky.
True meritocracy.
Which even if it's vastly different methods, whereas she is just taking advantage of everyone else to pull herself up, and he is actively doing the opposite to improve himself, the base concept is still there at least.
They're on the
Mm.
grind.
They are both on the ground.
It also adds like a really interesting implication about his dad. I want to know what you guys think about this because it's just a pet theory, even just from just that information we've learned about his family in this. Is that it seems like Joshua was just like a sickly person in general, and probably because of that, his biological father decided to make Julius like the heir to the family. But it seems like maybe Julius's like dad might have been the original heir, and because he married a commoner, he fell out of the line of succession. Like this is like an actual thing in real life history, even up to the early 1900s, where the king Edward married a divorcee commoner from the United States, and it forced him to abdicate the throne because at the time you couldn't marry someone of that low station because it would literally make it so your children would not be able to inherit due to the way nobility and succession works.
Yeah.
So that is my assumption would be that maybe his father was like his biological father was originally the heir, and him marrying the commoner and choosing happiness and being on that path made him go out of it, and Julius like then rose through merit to become the adopted heir of his uncle.
I mean, I think Julius's explanation was that his dad was born of a noble bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
That his dad was the second born, and thus was able to choose to marry who he wanted rather than having to do it for political reasons.
Yeah.
Being
He was the
forced,
spare.
Yeah,
He was the spare.
He
Probably.
was the spare. But what's interesting, if you also remember from Julius's like background that he's given to Subaru before, is that even though he's adopted, that made him the oldest son of his uncle.
So he is the heir.
Yeah.
So he is currently the heir to the Euculius line.
I feel like that was purposeful because of Joshua's health issues.
It also is irrelevant
I
because
thought you were gonna say hair color.
Dun dun dun.
Josh is also under like REM syndrome right now. Too.
Yeah,
Like, no one
he's
knows
not
that
even a
he-
person in the world
Yeah,
anymore. So,
he is not even remembered at all.
which adds extra tragedy to him not remembering who set him on that path in the first place, because it was Joshua, almost
Yep.
certainly.
That he was like glazing his brother up, like, you can do it. You're totally good enough, and all that. I mean, Joshua may have been the one to ask his dad to adopt his cousin. You don't
Yeah,
know.
I definitely think that was the case. I think
there is a side story that we can read regarding it, but we
yeah.
haven't done that yet.
I mean, we also get the implication from the anime that Julius just did things for Joshua that he couldn't do in his sick health, like going to get apples for him in the garden and such, and him losing that part of himself. Though I think the whole is easy to fill because of how dedicated and disciplined Julius is. It's clear that that is a big thing that's missing within his heart, right? Big question mark for his brain.
Mm-hmm.
But with that and that awesome chapter, we should probably get moving.
Yeah.
Pleiades nuts.
Hi, hi.
That's crazy.
Oh, a break chapter. Fuck yeah, peace out, bitches. Have fun.
Is that right, buddy?
Yay.
So narration. Woo!
Woo, woo, woo.
I got it. During my break chapter, I auditioned for the apothecary diary.
Oh, hell yeah.
Gosh. Damn,
I'm all knocked
Teal'c.
out, so.
Multitasking.
It's
She
like,
contains
look, I'm
multiple
here.
shoots.
They don't need me. So I'll pop over here and do
Break.
something. Like, I have a break. What should I do? Potentially get more work. Yay!
Yay!
I
The
should
work.
grind. I should grind. I should grind.
I have all this free time. Should I play a game? Wait, that one thing I've been meaning to do. Might as well.
Seeming as we
All
gotta
right.
wait for Connor to get back. Amelia had some
Oh,
cool
yeah.
stuff last chapter.
Woo!
Yes, she
Yeah.
did.
About that. New
Sleepyhead
power.
San. New power soldiers. I'm excited. She hasn't even told Subaru about it.
Nope.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets
She
to
just
name it.
did it.
Because Subaru steals all the naming opportunities for anyone's powers,
Yeah, literally.
which is really funny. But I love Amelia's just seeing from where she was in like Arc 3 and Arc 4 to where she is now. I'm just so proud of Amelia. She's doing her best. She's soldiering on. She's truly not letting the world break her, and I love that about her so much.
Yes.
I
She's
mean-
so overpowered in this area, too. This is like the strongest she's ever been.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's so overt symbolism that she uses ice that breaks constantly, and yet she never gives up, right? But it's just so fun. And also, Volcanica is really cool. Even though he has dementia, like, he is so imposing and scary. I'm like, Divine Dragon like, when I was narrating, I was just really getting into, this is the Divine Dragon Volcanica. Like, capital D. Like, this is, like, the god of Lagunica right here.
When I first... Oh, go ahead, Common. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, this is what some people in Lagunica think is like the final boss.
Yeah.
And all he does is swish his tail.
Now, I don't know how canon this is, but I'm pretty sure in one of the games it's confirmed that there are, like, churches for the dragon. Like, it is the religion of Lagunica. Like, he is the deity.
Julia. Whoops.
Julia.
Julia. Oh, it's a gender swap.
Oh, you're writing that fan fiction now. I see.
Oh yeah, we're in that one. Oh yeah.
Hey, look, I've written fanfic. No shame here. It's fine.
Stop.
No, when
stop.
I write it, it's about Subaru and Julius, not Amelia and Julius. Anyways.
Now it's Subaru and Julia, I guess.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, we got gender bend in here, too.
The Mastiff.
The
That's what I've been writing.
Oh, well, we've been cooking up some
Shelve
crazy
it.
stuff.
Do you think you would have crashed out if Julius was a girl after seeing her kiss Amelia's hand back then.
I think you would crash out in a different way.
I
In a way that
Yeah.
would make you as equally as uncomfortable as
I
that scene
think
did.
it would be
normally.
Rem, Amelia, and Julius endgame that everyone would want if he was Julia.
Think about all the Julia figures that would exist.
Alright, I'm gonna run away because I'm
There'd
not
be so
needed
many.
immediately, but you guys
Okay.
are completely down to start when you need to.
Well, we'll wait for Connor to come back since
Yeah,
this is
I'll be right back.
Ram chapter. When I came up with
Ram.
the name Volcanica for VTubing, I had not read Arc 6, by the way.
Are you being dead ass with me?
I was just like, ooh, a dragon VTuber. That's really cool. I like that. What's a dragon name? Oh, ReZero has one. Volcanica. That's a good name. Okay, Volcanica.
Yeah, surely
And-
this won't come into into play during the story because it's just like automatically mentioned.
Why would it? So I didn't. Yeah, I didn't actually think. And then Dementia Dragon, and then that just went off. And I was like, fuck my life, man.
So you have dementia?
No. Hopefully not.
It's canon now. Canny has dementia.
That's why she's not on. Candy's
why she's
out of
gone.
commission. It's just gonna be a stream where it repeat the same thing over and over again for 2 hours.
Hey chat.
Hey chat.
Hey chat.
Hey.
Chat.
I'm the Divine Dragon, Volcanica. Hey.
Hey, Connor's back.
He's
Hello.
back.
Welcome back. We really
Yay.
dragged that out for you.
Hi back.
Hi back.
Oh.
Chase ran away to probably go grab something, but he's not needed for a while, so we can get started when you guys are ready.
I'm so ready.
Maybe you say.
I gotta stand up for this one.
We gotta stand up for this one.
I
I
shall
gotta put
remain
my
seated.
whole- I gotta put my whole Kalmusi into this chapter.
Oh no. All right.
I'm gonna go away now.
Here, actually, hold on. Now that I've been told, I mean, I've already refreshed it like 3 times. I'm gonna refresh it one more time.
Just in
'cause-
case.
Sorry, it. Now
I'm
it's
the
a
same.
thing. Okay, now I think we're good. All right, children, we ready?
Yeah.
Hi.
All right.
Yes, server mom.
Hi.
Excellent. All right. Arc 6, Chapter 82. Shackle accompanying battle. Slowly, gradually unfastening her shackles step by step, she let her body heat escalate. She could feel her blood boil and sense all the muscles in her petite figure be pressed and strained. Soft on touch, it was the body of a young girl which seemed even transient and helpless. But the blood flowing within it, the flesh and bones which composed it, belonged to the utmost excelling species in the world. And even therein, it had been christened as the reincarnation of the Oni god.
This is what you're all about, Netsama! How utterly wonderful you are! You're glittering! No matter how much effort, Rem couldn't possibly ever attain you! Reach you, rifle you! That's how Netsama is!
Stop spitting around. It is unpleasant. Also, kindly stop comparing Rom with something.
Why so?
Isn't it obvious? It is because any title aside from Rem's Nesama is unneeded for Rom.
Declaring with apparent disgust, Ram twisted her frame as her elbow rebuff drilled into the air. Slashed upon touch, broke bones upon striking, a fearsome technique which pierced even into the insides. This was being performed lacking all frugality, as she fired a chain of strikes utilizing all of her limbs. These were not moves governed by simply physical ability or technique. Had it been brought forth by pure finesse, then Baten Kairos, who reconstructed all kinds of techniques of the past and the present, of East and West, relying on the memories of beaten opponents, could have surely dealt with it. However, Rom's battle techniques marked a concise difference from that. Stepping in, the elbow and knee strikes which Ram fired changed their velocity midway through. That was because Ram clad herself in wind magic, which she specialized in, and wove truth and myth together in the midst of the battle. Accelerating or decelerating speed with wind, she derailed Baten Kaidos' recognizance as he counterattacked. In the end, Ram utilized wind and scattered her presence in all directions, and while slipping into the opponent's blind spot with nimble carriage of her body, struck countless fatal blows.
How irresistible!
Whilst agilely evading those attacks of Ram's, Baten Kaidos acclaimed with a joyful expression. Whilst bleeding from his cut right cheek, disheveled, his unkempt, long, dark brown hair, Gluttony was enjoying comparing his own ability to his opponent.
Hot, irresistible spice! Acerbic refinement, a galleon trick, making joyfulness explode, truly dynamic. Nesama is a feast perfectly suited for our gourmet.
Flying about the spiral staircase, Baten Kaidos laughed while shifting each other's positions, making the daggers on both of his arms collide with Ram's wand, and opening up distance. Saliva dripped down from his open mouth.
Oh, nice, so nice, quite nice, very nice, as it is nice. Isn't it nice, as it's probably nice? Certainly it's nice because it is nice. Gluttonous drinking, gluttony! Above all, what's nice is that scent of rage. An opponent who gives us, personally, isn't this much hatred. We wonder what kind of a gourmet delicacy will we get to have a fill up upon tasting that atop our tongue.
Clasping both of his hands, Baten Kaido shivered about with an incomprehensible premonition of pleasure. Whilst witnessing that, Ram took a deep inhale and confirmed the condition of her body.
Though far from its original condition.
Despite not letting it show on her face, her truest heart, Ram had been struck with admiration. Unlike the fools for whom it was a cliché to baselessly claim that they knew themselves best, Ram truly had a complete understanding. Having lost the horns that marked the Oni clan, Ram's body, which had become hornless, was under the threat of being crushed by an enormous burden on a daily basis. Thus, Ram placed shackles onto her own consciousness. Normally, when working as a servant, she did everything with those shackles on. At times, there were situations of emergency, and she had no choice but to utilize magic and do away with the situation. In those instances, she unfastened one shackle and allowed herself a bare minimum utilization of magic. And in circumstances which would be sordid despite that, she unfastened two shackles, and though only in short, decisive battles, Ram demonstrated about 20% of her original strength. That was around what she had done when she had faced and fought Garfield Sanctuary, approximately a year and a half prior. Ram had confidence that that was the maximum strength she could bring out as hornless, and her body would not be able to endure any further, become disabled. Those shackles, a double-edged sword, right now, had already been unfastened that much by Ram. At that moment, an unusual indecision distorted Ram's innermost heart. As aforementioned, Ram perfectly understood herself. For her, this absence of feeling recoil after fighting this was something which had not happened to her ever since she was truly a child, around 10 years of age. Should the recoil of having fought this much rebound, Ram's head would ache as if fissuring. She would incessantly bleed from her nose and eyes, so she must prepare herself for her body being rendered unusable for some duration. That was not present here, because it was flowing into Subaru, whom she shared a collective destiny with.
If this takes too long, Barasu will die. Is that it?
If everything was going by as they had discussed, then about now Subaru must be making efforts in order to deal with the rampaging Shala, or the advancing hordes of witch beasts. With him was Beatrice, and perhaps Maylie. Amelia, who made her memories throb, headed for the upper strata of the tower, and perhaps was putting up a fierce struggle as a solitary force. Mysteriously, some part of that silver-haired girl's positive attitude made her curious. Without question, she was someone whose hand Rom must have held multiple times and guided, before she had gotten her name stolen. Each and every single one of them were helpless and unreliable without Rom. Henceforth,
Kindly endure with the intent to die, Barasu. Ram will cry otherwise.
thus, hurling those inaudible, Rom unfastened her third shackle, after an interval of 10 years. That instant, Natsuki Subaru gnashed his teeth due to the recoil of Corleones. As if vomiting blood. No, it was indeed the burden of vomiting blood. For a single instant, he felt one of the fleeting lights within the tower enlarge, and the next moment it assailed down upon Subaru.
Subaru!
Letting out a cough mixed with blood, Subaru's stance crumbled as Beatrice, who was by his side, supported him. Unfortunately, Subaru and Beatrice were currently riding was not Patrichet, whom they had grown accustomed to riding on, but a witch beast who took no regard for living being riding on it, a hungry horse king. He had very few experiences of riding without the divine protection of wind evasion, since there was no saddle to place one's buttocks on or stirrup to have one's legs supported. A single moment of carelessness would result in being thrown off. The reason why that had not happened to him so far is because he was using his guilty whip as reins by wreathing it to the witch beast's upper body, and because Beatrice was restraining his body weight through an elaborate magic. Subaru could not allow himself to let that persistent effort go to waste. Did Ram's recoil reach, I suppose?
Just as you conjecture. Indeed. Sorry, I'll somehow put up with it.
Reaffirming his grasp onto the whip, Subaru responded to Beatrice, who had a good sense of judgment. His rising vomit tasted and scented like rust, and he did not have the slightest idea just which part of the body's burden this was. His internal organs letting out a creak. Something inside of his body being fractured. Perhaps the damage was of that kind. Regardless, this was the proof that Rom had gotten serious.
If Rom could clean up the gluttony side.
He would not say the situation would ease instantly due to that. First of all, he did not even possess confidence whether gluttony being crushed would result in the restoration of the names and memories it had stolen. He possessed confidence merely in the fact that Subaru's burden would be abated. Should that be, Subaru would be able to concentrate on taking up the inferior physical Maylie. Clinging to the hungry horse king's upper body, Maylie was giving commands to the witch beasts whilst risking her life. In order to face off against the titanic scorpion aiming for Subaru, whilst fiercely shaking about its pincers and tail stinger, Maylie's risky battling was indispensable. Insufficient war potential could not be supplemented by material resources. Subaru and the rest pushed themselves and created a stalemate which did not exist. For that purpose, Subaru had been neither playing around nor joking, but rather absolutely serious in shouting the comment that it was vital to admire Maylie like a prince. At present, though Amelia, Rom, and Julius and the others' strength was absolutely necessary for each respective obstacle, amongst the 5 obstacles aiming for the Pleiades watchtower, but the one necessary to maintain each of those battlefields was nobody but Maylie Portro. Thus, already for a while now, Subaru had been taking up the feedback from her divine protection, which rained upon her. With a shrill voice, Melee pushed the witch beasts to their death whilst overlooking the battlefield. Clapping her hands, clicking her fingers, or sometimes giving orders with her voice, though her way of action depended on the witch beast, her divine protection was being used at full throttle for all of them to abide. Subaru realized that it brought about suitable burden by feeling as if his own brain was aching, becoming swollen. The grace brought forth by Otto's divine protection of the soul of language, or Melee's divine protection of fiend manipulation, felt much more like an expansion of human ability rather than something magical. Upon expressing it, it seemed like a power in the field of psychic abilities instead of magic. If that was the case, then it was also understandable that its feedback would be greater compared to other divine protections. In the sense that the divine protection's object was not the surroundings or other people, but it worked only upon oneself.
After all, divine protections and authorities are both part of an incomprehensible system.
The authorities, wielded by the Sin Archbishops and the witches, and Subaru by some twist of fate. Or the divine protections, which had a possibility of being bestowed upon those born into this world. All powers have some way of being put to use, though even Subaru recognized that the truth of a certain kind.
It's because something like that, it exists.
He could not stop thinking that it could give rise to tragedies. The context behind why the Sin Archbishops and the witches were feared, and their audacious power, was unmistakably greatly concerned with the strength of the authorities, which allowed nobody else to get close. Even divine protections, if things like those did not exist, then there could have been countless people who would have lived without their destiny being distorted. If an example were to be taken, even Melee was a victim to the negative aspect of divine protections. Since she possessed the power to communicate with witch beasts by birth, she had been abandoned by her true parents. He was unaware of whether that was true. However, it was a convincing elucidation, self-evident logic. At the very least, that was the truth within Melee's heart. That was precisely why.
I really have Nichi Okichion.
On one side, he thought he did not want to rely on authorities or divine protection. But upon rise of necessity, he did not think twice before using them. Though it was true that a weak human possessed limited choices, he did not want even his heart to person by that. He was walking down a path which should not even be a path. He never wanted to forget that fact.
Oni-san! Are you concentrating? If Oni-san or Beatrice-chan get done in, then that'll be the end, you know?
No. What do you say, Melee? Once everything's over, wouldn't you become my daughter?
Like I said, concentrate!
Melee howled in response to who made that inquiry whilst enduring the heaviness of his head. Neither of them had any leisure. Should their concentration vanish, everything could end in but a moment. However, but still.
After putting up with this much suffering, it would make sense if you don't think that a happy tomorrow awaits.
Yes, whilst vomiting blood, that was the thought which came to Natsuki's mind. Whilst resuming the battle on the sand, Melee whispered, "Something's wrong with me," to herself. Of course, there were plenty of things that could be labeled as something being wrong with her. The same went for Shala before her eyes, who had transformed into the giant scorpion. The same also went for Ram, Julius, and the others who were fighting various opponents inside the watchtower, and was especially the same for Subaru and Beatrice, fighting alongside her. However, The one who had the most of something wrong with oneself was certainly.
Me, isn't it?
Why was she becoming like this? Maylie herself had no idea about herself. In fact, Maylie believed she had started undertaking action unbefitting of herself from the moment she accompanied Subaru and the others for their journey through the Ogria sand dune. As per the flow, as per the need, regardless of whether right or wrong, she had continued to meekly submit to everything that was ordered of her. Since that was Maylie's secret to success in life, she had intended to do the same here as well. And yet,
It's because something like the Book of the Dead exists.
upon hearing it was possible to personally experience the feelings of the dead, Maylie had been defeated by the inquisitiveness dwelling within her. Possessing no choice but to unseal her emotions towards Elsa Granhjert, which had always been soldering, reluctantly, Maylie ended up amassing blunders utmost unbefitting of herself. In the end, being taken to task for that, she had even ended up being lectured a great deal from Subaru. Though she did not feel like simply doing away with its calls with her. For some reason, she was even made to promise cooperation thereafter. Though Subaru had even told her would always have to back though Subaru had even told her she would always have his back to look up to. She wondered to what extent did he intend to take responsibility for that, whether he belonged to the type of people who first said rash things, then later regretted them. In the sense of easily being swept away with the flow, many things came to Maylie's mind as well. However, what differed between Maylie and Subaru was that he did not offer mere lip service. If Subaru said he would do it, then he would surely make efforts to do it. And the one who was present at the scene of the promise, was it Beatrice? Beatrice would certainly also try to make him uphold it. If that was so, she felt as if she was being arbitrarily spoiled, and also that she should help someone, but she had not been told anything like that till now. Even now, the hordes of feathered moles flying about responding to Maylie's hand gestures were being struck down into bits and pieces by the giant scorpion's tail stinger. Normally, the timid feather moles would never charge toward an enemy larger than themselves, but even Maylie, who was able to walk over that instant, could not make them stronger.
They're done for!
Swinging about its colossal pincers, the violence of the enraged, gigantic scorpion killed the witch beasts one after the other. The blood of the slashed, crushed, torn witch beasts permeated into the thirstful sand, and the sand, which appeared yellow, changed its form to a dark red hue. Grinding her teeth in response to that reality, Maylie nimbly turned her eyesight to her environs, probing the presence of the witch beasts in the sky, on the sand, or even underground, and tamed all those who could be tamed, without concern for quality. What was necessary at this moment were resources, an inexhaustible number of pieces under control.
Jeez. Because of this, I'm definitely having Onisa listen to whatever I demand later, okay?
Devoid of even the flexibility to wipe off the sweat on her forehead, Maylie slammed harsh words towards who was restraining the enormous scorpion from a distance neither too close or too far. Even for Maylie, the back of the Hungry Horse King did not make for a pleasant riding experience. However, in Maylie's case, she had stabbed the mantle enveloping her body through to the witch beast's back with a knife, forcing her body to remain fixed. It was a witch beast under her territory of control. It could accept that level of injury without any problem. The problem lay not in the witch beast, but in the strength of Maylie, who had been placed into that situation. First of all, this last moment kind of battling wasn't Maylie's doing things. Maylee's battle style was that prior preparation met life, arranging to place the witch beasts around within Meili's territory of control, deploying them in the battleground, and then watching their conjunct sail from. That was precisely what the specialty of the witch beast master of Meili Portro was. Of course, directly giving orders in the battlefield enhanced the precision of witch beast's offense and defense, but even that was something Meili need not perform were it to compromise herself. Because she had blundered in that choice, Meili had lost against Sue and the others in battle, and had become a prisoner.
Elsa.
The reason why she had died is also due to the repetition of such blunders. Of course, neither would Elsa ever wish for Meili to reproach herself. In fact, it was possible she thought nothing of having to die. That was why she could not help but get anxious. Just as she did not understand Elsa, she did not understand her own feelings too well either. First of all, though she was taking part in stalling against the Titanic scorpion like this, and buying time in exchange for the lives of the witch beast, Meili had never done things this way even once. Though young, Meili Portro was a killer. Taking someone's life on command, order, quest of someone was her occupation. That was why this was the first time for her. Fighting in order to help, to save someone's life.
This isn't my way of doing things, okay?
Subaru's earlier words, akin to incoherent were excessively infuriating. Quite a thing to ask. Did you become my daughter? With an attitude as if he had no hint of being hated by others. Truly provoking. Even if her direct enemy was Garfield, it was Subaru who had constructed those circumstances. Just as he had indeed constructed the circumstances of Lady's watchtower, as per his own freedom as well. Indeed, though she thought of Subaru's words and deeds in negation, upon taking notice, Meili herself had abided by his commands, and was moving like a piece to set up the board just like the other members. If that was the circumstance constructed by Subaru's farsightedness, then it was still convincing. However, no matter what, Subaru did not seem like someone of that caliber. What Subaru possessed was merely desperation, self-assertive expectations, and insane faith as if entrusting his own life.
It feels like I've been turned into a stupid fool as well!
Whilst pronouncing so, Meili drew up the witch beasts she had grasped in the underground, and then made them aim for the giant scorpion. Exploding through the sand sea dyed red, what flew out of the underground was a sand earthworm, its large frame trembling about. Twisting its enormous build, which was greater than 10 meters in size, it hardly collapsed into the giant scorpion. Crushed underneath, swallowed by the sand. Magnificent victory. There was no way things were going to proceed so smoothly, though. Blown by the Corona's torrent, sand earthworm's thick trunk was scattered in an instant. As the sand earthworm fell over with its body divided into two, splattering out bodily fluids with a strange noise, it was smashed with further precision by the successive attack of the tail stinger. However, that was a smokescreen of blood and flesh utilizing the life of the sand earthworm. The 3 hungry horse kings which appeared from underground, which the sand earthworm had broken through, were the real deal. With a howl akin to a child's crying, the flaming half-human, half-horse launched towards the giant scorpion. Though multiple kinds of witch beasts called the Ogria sand dunes their home, the ones which were the utmost excelling in terms of standalone firepower were these hungry horse kings. Using the feathered moles, which were large in numbers but could not make for a decisive blow, or the courtesan bears with extremely low endurance, and the sand earthworms, which tried to crush with their enormous builds altogether as cover, Meili had preserved the real deal. Drawn by the traces of this battle, the 3 hungry horse kings had gathered here. They fell behind the enormous scorpion in terms of fighting strength, but these were the witch beasts which the opponent was utmost vigilant around. That was indisputable proof of the fact that it sensed the firepower of the witch beasts to be a threat.
Looks like I'm fine after all.
One which Melee herself was on, one on which Subaru and Beatrice were seated, and the 3 hungry horse kings which she had prepared for the strike. The burden of making all of them move at the same time must be befittingly, substantially heavy. Melee was, however, not experiencing that recoil right now. Mysteriously enough, it would be possible that the battle's enhancement let that happen, and if that was the case, then she would like to presume upon that. She did not think of bringing the enemy down. However, should she be able to land even a slightly deadly blow, then it would also ease achieving Subaru's purpose. In a certain sense, this may have been the 3rd time the young girl named Melee, who had lived her life going by the flow, had desired to do something by her own. The first was when she had wandered about the watchtower at nighttime, seeking salvation through the book of the dead. The second was when she had been mentally cornered and had drawn close to Subaru's back as he stood by the spiral staircase. And the third, with the purpose of buying time, seeking a result greater than what was expected of her. The moment the 3 hungry horse kings approached the giant scorpion, a scream accompanied with blood beckoned Melee. That was, quite literally, Subaru's voice as he bled by the edge of his mouth. Melee was puzzled, because it was neither exultating, or joyful, nor admiring. She wondered what was there to be so angry about when she was doing her job this well. However,
Huh?
wielding lances of spears, the 3 hungry horse kings viciously had leapt upon the enormous scorpion. No matter how efficiently it used its pincers or tail stinger, it would fail to block it. So had been her expectation. But she took notice upon observing the change that occurred on the titanic scorpion's body, as if it had been scorched by flames, or as if it had sipped blood just like the sand. The exterior shell that had been shining dully like blackened steel changed its color as if opening its eyes. An instant later, a second later, the jet black color of the shell had changed to blood-like red. In certain kinds of witch beasts, there were those who invoked a transformation called offensive hue. The transformation caused their behavior to change with a distinct difference from, and they became aggressive with greater ferociousness. As a transformation easy to grasp, the outward appearance changed in the majority of cases. The inflation of the hungry horse king's flames, countless eyes being yielded throughout the body of the white whale, also corresponded to the same. And that was something the enormous scorpion, no, the crimson scorpion, corresponded to as well, becoming further aggressive, further destructive, further deleterious. A white sheen was fired in all directions, making the onrushing hungry horse kings vanish in thin air. At the same time, the aftermath of the wild corona thrashed about, as if mowing down the sand sea. And, swallowed by the torrent of exploding light, Melee's petite figure fluttered in midair, a spray of blood accompanied. Enhancement overflowing with the sensation of boiling blood. She had despised that ever since she was a child. Omnipotence which seemed as if she could govern all things in this. Had the time of her being intoxicated with that hallucination continued, no matter how firm a spirituality she may have been blessed with, time would have unquestionably made her err in her path. She was aware that she surpassed others. However, she did not lay too much trust in that. She also made mistakes, simply by possessing a will to not make mistakes. and a stance to correct mistakes. The reason why she had been able to embrace that will was also thanks to her not being intoxicated with omnipotence and acting like. Thanks to her not committing the misunderstanding of believing she was wonderful by going along with the extravagant praises of her surroundings and remaining without becoming a yes man of those who revered stale traditions and fashion mystiques. And the reason why she remained without being crushed by such surface reasons was thanks to whom, she wondered. She knew that it was surely thanks to something which could not be remembered, something which was missing. The reason being.
After all, Rom is not only cute, but also wise.
Deserting words of her own praises, Rom's unremitting footing smashed the different stair levels of the spiral staircase. That instant, the peach-haired Oni clad in wind struck her arm, crushing the arm for her opponent who tried to block it, twisting it in an instant till the wrist, elbow, and finally the shoulder, she fractured it. She would not let the grumble of agony. Knocking her fist to the side of the face, about to give her eyes to Rom's fair fingers turned into buckshot. With countless blows fired onto his entire body, Kaitos jumped away whilst vomiting blood. Pursuing him, Rom rode on the wind she had produced below her feet and leapt extremely high up. As if to intercept Rom, Kaitos swung both of his feet around whilst midair. The following instant, the created distortion of space came in contact with Rom's shoulder and slashed her clothes, skin, and flesh, albeit shallowly. A leftover souvenir of a blade invisible in the air, an impudent trap brought forth by wind magic.
Something of this level?
You're saying that you'll blast it away with wind? Won't do, useless. As it's something that's been fixed in space, you see. Even Nesama wouldn't be able to kick it away. How unfortunate. Too bad.
Seeing through her plan beforehand, Kaitos, with a blood-stained smile, kicked the air. Though he was not truly kicking the air, but was using the blades which had slashed Rom as a foothold, walking in midair. Using those whose positions were known only by him as footing, he freely flew about the spiral staircase, which heavily made use of the tower. However,
Clairvoyance!
even if she were not able to capture that within her perception, should she be able to overlap with the field of vision of established humans, she could grasp the hiding spot even with the slightest change in consciousness. As Gluttony tried to escape upwards and upwards into the air by using his traps as footings, Rom overlapped with her opponent's field of vision, using the same as footing, bolted towards him with conviction.
Seriously, Nesama? Are you for real?
What a Barasu-like thing to say. It'd help if you stop this tug of war.
Kaitos was surprised, and having jumped through the air faster than his ascent, Rom looked below towards his creepy face. And she mercilessly drove in the bottom of her shoe towards that face, with an open mouth lined up with sharp fangs.
All right, let's see how many times we'll be able to get a taste of Rom's shoe until you fall below.
With his snout crushed, Kaitos' petite frame rolled over midair. With the vigor of his ascent killed off, this time Gluttony was made to fall directly below due to the strength of Rom's kick at the same pace. Pursuing him, Rom raised both of her hands towards the heavens, yielding wind in her palms, and swiftly, towards the falling Kaitos' face, hammered a second kick downward. No, a third, a fourth, and continued hammering kicks in. Mercilessly, Rom's heel kicked into his nose, his teeth, his chin, his forehead with each shot. She had found that sneering face and that mouth which time and again had called Rom Ni-sama to be unpleasant. She intended to spoil both, as their descent yet resumed. Incidentally,
It is not Rom's fault, even if you get hit by the traps you laid. You reap what you sow.
Yeah!
En route to fall by the kick, the invisible blades he had laid in the atmosphere cleaved Baten Kaidos' body. He was bleeding, and it seemed a few of the wounds had gouged his flesh as well, but Rom would not ignore them. Rom did not like to go out of her way and go as far as to make her opponent suffer and agonize. However, that applied to the cases where her opponent had sympathetic qualities, and if her opponent was a detested enemy of hers, she would not falter in making them squeal like a pig.
So, do you regret it?
Skillfully halting her body in the air, Rom inquired with her legs remaining on the opponent's face and chest. With his face polluted by thick blood, Baten Kaidos did not respond to the question, but instead raised the daggers on both of his hands overhead. In that juncture, both of Rom's hands, used as swords, struck the opponent's shoulders, coercively dislocating the shoulder joint.
So, do you regret it?
No matter how excellent a technique he wielded, with dislocated shoulders, his arms would not swing. Whilst looking downwards onto the surprised face with eyes widened, Rom once again repeated the same question. As Baten Kaidos gazed at Rom, she tried to search for fright being born in his eyes. Her motive was to etch in fright, anguish, an indefinable sense of defeat, for the purpose of revenge. No, not something trivial of that kind.
Rem,
It was for the purpose of recovering her, the enormous number of victims who had been met by the tragedy of gluttony until now. For the purpose of recovering the masses who had gotten their name and memory plundered and the history they had come in contact with usurped. If killing was all that was required, then Rom was capable of doing that, even right now. All she had to do was have her feet wear a blade of wind and decapitate him with the same toil as when she had kicked his face in. Even if he was a witch cultist, renowned for being living foulness, if his neck and body were to be sundered, he would effectively die. With a process of retribution, by one who was from the village of the Oni clan, which had been burnt to the ground, unto those who had brought about the village's destruction. After all, she was aware that the character of the witch cult was merely repugnant, being a horde of weak buffoons. Thus, she questioned, in order to kill his heart prior to his life.
so, do you regret it?
Solar eclipse!
Upon hearing the question for the third time, faint trepidation got mixed in even among the hue of blood. However, he disappeared right before Rom's eyes, literally in the blink of an eye. His disappearance was not at a level of merely being moved at high speeds. The sensation of the face, the body of her opponent beneath her feet, vanished. However, she immediately got an idea on where Baten Kaidos had disappeared too.
Clairvoyance.
As long as she had the opponent's field of vision pinned down, nobody could escape from Rom. Following the field of vision visible to her, she pinpointed the location and the spiral staircase where the opponent was. Upon enveloping herself in wind and catching up to that, she discovered the form of a bald old man wearing something akin to a priest's garb. That transformation of outward appearance could bewilder and mislead anyone, except for Rom. However, due to the sharing of the field of vision, Rom had conviction that, regardless of what form the opponent may have, he was Baten Kaidos.
It was that changing form and disguising oneself was a lost technique. What other tricks do you possess?
Oh, shit! Even if there was no intention to use it, no, even though there was supposed to be none.
What are you saying?
Upon catching up at the spiral staircase, there was a kneeling old man, Baten Kaitos, as he groaned in agony. She furrowed her eyebrows upon his attitude, which seemed completely genuine. However, Ram immediately cast aside the resolution of her doubt. What was momentous was that the opponent was still alive and breathing, and that his heart had suffered no cracks. Besides,
Cannot take too long.
though she murmured that to herself, it had already been more than a minute since Ram had unfastened a great shackle. Though there was some faint burden settled onto Ram as well, the majority of it was going to Subaru. Such was the situation. Though she had told Subaru to make minute adjustments, but just as she had conjectured, he was arbitrarily taking up the entirety of Ram's burden. He would go to any lengths or to act cool. Something like that should be done by him just for the sake of those he loved. Rem.
The situation remains unknown to Ram. But are you finally willing to gulp down this side's demand? Kindly restore everything you have eaten as gluttony up until now. If you do that,
If you do that, then what are you supposing you'd let us off the hook?
no. If you do that, then Ram shall kill you immediately. Isn't that a nice deal? In that one thing, all of your qualities that deserve death shall be pardoned.
Whilst using even an elderly pronoun, Baten Kaitos leaked out a similarly elderly laugh. Observing his conduct, Ram guessed whether this change of form, that it was perhaps a necessary procedure in order to use that personage's ability to its fullest. Earlier, when he had completely disappeared before Ram, that was a technique which ought to be dubbed as a short-distance spatial leap. The one who had used that had certainly been the bald old man which Baten Kaitos took the form of.
But it is quite strange. If you had this trump card all along, then would it not have been strange to have used it further, earlier? Yet I wonder why you continued to hide it. Do you have a reason why you do not want to use it or such? Like being dragged along by the vessel?
Good gracious! Truly, never we come across a lady this terrifying. No, really, Nesama, you are scary.
Upon the conjecture through the enhanced possibility, the form of the old man slowly changed into stature. That was the affirmation of Ram's identification, and also evidence of the fact that the transformation did not make the received wounds disappear at the same time. Baten Kaitos was blood-stained. His face was spoiled as well.
About your shoulders.
Relocated them slamming into the wall because it's something that doesn't go well if done just once, you see. It hurts. It hurts.
As if confirming the sensation, Baten Kaitos greatly gyrated both of his shoulders, which he had relocated and healed. Witnessing that, Ram introspected that instead of dislocating his shoulders, she should have slashed his arms off his shoulders. Or if she were to crush the ends of his limbs, then she might perhaps crush all his absurd tricks as well.
But this and that, forestalling what this side's supposed to do to achieve everything. How amazing, Nesama! Could it be, Nesama? Aren't you yourself using an authority like Oni-san?
Truly unthinkable. This is merely Ram's excellent power of insight. Do not group it together with Barasu's incomprehensible instinct. It is unpleasant. Kindly die.
Bitter! But that's so, is that so? Guess that's so!
Languidly dropping out his torn tongue from his mouth, filled with fangs, Kaitos expressed a blood-stained smile. Widening her eyes in guard upon that ominous gesture, Rom let strength flow into his shoulders. If he made any unusual... No.
Before you do anything, kindly have a taste of this.
Before he could make any unusual move, Rom opted to blow away the opponent's limbs with blades of wind. There existed ways to halt bleeding. There existed no ways to halt pain, but that questioning would resume until and unless he died. Making that judgment, she struck unhesitating blades of wind. Yet,
The bet is ours to win!
whilst basking in the wind blades, the plump, stout man with an unshaved face jumped towards the rear. The blades of wind, which should have been able to cleave rather than merely injure his limbs, even his fat trunk, regardless of how thick his skin was, were unable to bring about anything but a light tinge of red on the stout man's skin, and were swept off.
Nesama, wonder if you've had a teensy bit of misunderstanding. Just to let you know, we aren't the only one who's keeping a watch on the opponent, you know.
As Rom advanced, believing she must not let that giant get away, that voice was thrown towards her. The subsequent instant, Rom got her throat slashed by one of the leftover souvenir blades, albeit slightly, and her Sorry.
Procession.
The subsequent instant, Rom got her throat slashed by one of the leftover souvenir blades, albeit slightly, and her procession was delayed half a step. Kaido slipped into that interval of merely half a step.
This is our hit from your approach!
The form of the old man disappeared with the speed of a blink of an eye. The intimidating air of the presence, which had appeared right behind her, intensified. Granting her not even the time to turn backward, a mighty fist was hammered into Rom's side, blowing away her slender figure. Whilst being hurled away, pronouncing "Kah!" Rom glanced and observed that the one who had knocked her into flight was a man with a robust physique and a violent aura, instantaneously switching the forms of three men, the linkage which utilized their special qualities to their fullest.
Even so, do not think that technique once shown will work again.
Don't think so, don't think so, don't think so, you know. Don't think so indeed. Don't think so thus. Exactly. Because we don't think so. Don't think so. As it's said.
The form of the hollering Kaidos changed into the old man once again, and covered one of his own eyes with his hand. Experiencing dread and fright upon his movement, Rom stretched her long legs, promptly kicking the wall, testing to take the position in order to agilely spring at the opponent. However, she could not make it.
We are aware. Rem's Nesama cannot continue to move in that fashion without any tricks.
Not Rom's movement, but Rem's knowledge had drawn that answer. Witnessing Rom's movements, who had transcended the confines of being hornless, Kaidos averred that conjecture with resolve, and when Rom returned to the difference in levels in the staircase, he realized that malice. Namely,
Nesama! We don't really want to compare strengths with Nesama, you know.
indeed, that cunning old smile vanished as if melting into space. Temporally instantaneous mobility, brought forth by short-distance distortion of space, upon being executed consecutively, withdrawing from the battlefield was a simple, easy matter, though she had not expected him to respectably fight until death without giving in.
To decide to escape. No. Rather than that,
If he was aware of Rom's clairvoyance, then he would not think he would be able to simply escape. The reason why he had taken distance whilst knowing that was because he had realized the time restriction placed onto Rom. And, though vexing, Rom had been made to lose considerable time. The burden placed onto Subaru would exceed a minute in duration. As quickly as possible, she must discover the whereabouts of Baten Kaitos, who had escaped into the tower. By the time those thoughts dawned upon her, she took notice that Sin Archbishop, a clod of malice, would not slip into the tower simply for the purpose of escaping. He was well aware what the greatest medium of tormenting Rom, whom he was confronting, would be. That was...
Rem,
At last, the field of vision of the evil overlapped with Rom's vision, in grasp once again. Reflected therein was the tail of a black ground dragon, scurrying with the sleeping beauty atop itself. And that's the end of the chapter! Woo!
Woo! Great job,
Job,
everyone.
Kelly.
Oh, apologize. Apologies for that one. That threw me off so hard.
It happens to
I
the
just
best of us. No worries.
I blue screened for a second, like, oh god, oh god.
Don't worry. The amount of times I have like physically buffered this week, I cannot criticize you for it. You could see the buffering symbol on my face.
It's true. You can.
Ugh.
Man, 2 great fights going on at once.
Yep. 2 of the best fights of the series. Unironically.
Melee can't catch a fucking break.
No, she can't.
No.
So,
What do you mean? She's
you
getting
wanna-
adopted in the middle of a war. It's
Yeah,
totally fine.
it's totally fine.
There's
Also-
no way that's a death flag.
Also by someone who's only like 7 years older than her.
It's the experience that counts.
Yeah, it is. But it's so funny because you can tell that he's half joking and half serious. And you're just like, how do you deal with that? How do you take that? He just wants to be a dad.
He does.
Bro's ready.
That's the
Like,
real
I have
reason.
nowhere
why-
to place this big dad energy.
Yeah, literally.
It's the real reason why small girls keep flocking around him. He just has
He just
big
dad
dad energy
powers.
to him.
Yeah.
Divine protection of gathering children.
I mean, whenever he's acting like his dad and it's genuine and it's not him acting, it is very much he is just channeling his dad's dad energy, you know?
Yeah, 100%. That's why he got Garfield on his side so quickly.
Yeah. I mean, because Garfield had like no real male figures in his life really at all. So, boom.
No. He had Roswell.
No father-like
Not great.
figures.
Is Roswell even a figure, or is he more like a nightmare that looms in the dark?
He's there, so he is a figure in his life.
Like, he's present.
More like a dark
Yeah,
silhouette.
present.
The sleep paralysis demon in the corner.
It's crazy to think.
Garfield Kun.
It's crazy to think that Subaru is a better dad than like at least half of the actual
All
dads in
in
this
the series,
series.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, that can kind of hit true in real life. Sometimes dads just don't be performing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sometimes he just not be dadding.
Sometimes they just
Nope.
be pucking.
But Subaru doesn't know what that's like, so he just has to do
Nope.
it perfectly.
Yeah, he just has to step up to the plate, and I respect him for it.
I love Ram versus Lai as well.
It's so cool. It's so fun that Lai just like comes to the conclusion. Of course, Ram must have an authority too. She's just too strong.
Mhm.
And then Ram's just like,
No, I'm just built different,
I'm
kid.
just built different. It's just so fun. It's just like, I am literally a prodigy, bro. You ain't got shit. You ain't got shit on me.
You and your stolen powers have nothing on natural talent.
Natural talent.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I love how this fight is almost the complete opposite of Reed versus Julius. The
Yeah.
power dynamic is completely flipped.
Completely different. Yeah.
Yeah, let me just dominate you entirely this entire battle to keep having to resort to worse and worse tricks that I have counters for.
Yeah. It's Julius punching up and it's Ram punching down.
Mhm. This is Tape's way of telling everyone, don't fuck with Ram.
Yeah. Really don't. Especially when Corleonis is on her and she can fully unrestrain herself. It's terrifying. I mean, to give respect to Ram too, she helped deal with Garth in Arc 4 with only releasing one restraint.
Yeah, that what did she say? Like 1/5 of her potential.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just punching, really.
And now she's like, all right, well now I'm gonna go 30% my potential and
Yeah.
see what that does to you, bud.
Yeah. I'm really excited to get to her name chapter. It's probably one of my favorite in the series.
It's gonna be so fun.
It's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to prep my voice even more for it.
Me
There you go,
too.
Kyle. You can speak again.
Oh, thanks.
I fixed it.
Thank you.
She's coming through your mic, but not through her own.
Hello.
That's better.
In fact, if we keep up this and we don't have any
Oh,
more hiatus.
Nope, never mind.
Oh.
We're not back.
Never
Okay,
mind.
Try again.
Hello, can you
gone
hear
to
me
the void.
now? Oh, that's
We-
why.
We
How
can
about
hear.
now?
Well, there we
There
go.
we
There
go.
we go.
Oh, yeah.
Getting used to controls. All right. If we do not have another hiatus, like none of us get sick, we're doing good. We should be done with Arc 6 by October 4th.
Yeah.
Awesome. We're so close.
We're so close.
We are 5 live streams away.
Yeah, and to put it in perspective, this is way quicker than Arc 5 ever
Yeah.
I
was.
mean, this is
Yes.
a year.
Yeah.
This is 1 year max, like less.
Yes, thank
Yeah.
God.
It's like 6-7
Arc 5
months.
could never.
Yeah, Arc 5 could
No.
never.
Arc
No.
5 could never.
Arc 5
almost
wishes.
never.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
But we have a nice new setup for editing Arc 6. So myself and our editors and our new editor we just brought on will be able to grind through it a lot faster. So depending on how we do, especially with this new just audio edit fix up, when we talk to our audio engineer, we might be able to have Arc 6 fully up and re-edited by early next year. I'm estimating by March. So it'd take us a full year to pump out Arc 6 live and recorded.
That's pretty good turnaround.
That's my hope.
Yeah.
I don't want to put pressure on the editors too much, but that should give us loads of time. So we could drop Arc 7 on our 5th anniversary is my hope.
Ooh, that'd be awesome.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yes. We will be doing Chapter 1 of Arc 7 on our very last day, which should be that October 4th.
Yeah, because
if I'm not
it just
wrong.
makes sense to do it.
Yeah, so it'll be 3 chapters on our final day.
Mhm.
We won't have a long celebration, but we'll briefly celebrate that
Everyone
excitement.
grab a tiny piece of pizza, half a cup of pop, get back to your desk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
A pencil-thin slice of pizza.
Reverie can only afford a medium, so make it work, everybody.
We'll have to put the calculations in to see the word count for Arc 5 versus Arc 6.
Holy
'Cause-
fuck.
Yeah.
Oh.
Please, somebody in our community, do it for us.
Please.
I beg you.
Because I'm not gonna. With that,
Things will be fun soon. But
With
yeah,
that,
Hell yeah.
probably a good time to call it. Got a busy day ahead of us, but thank you everyone for watching. I hope you had a grand old time, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
bye.
bye everyone.